So nurses to nannies, let's just dive right into it, right? So at the essence of what I'm trying to do is just push women empowerment as much as possible within the workspace for working class women and then also nurses in their nursing space as well. It's a two-sided marketplace where for nurses, we understand that their work-life balance is not really where they want it to be. Their pay isn't necessarily where they want it to be, and their mental health isn't necessarily where they want it to be. And that forces about 60% of the marketplace to go ahead and switch their industries to whether it be sales or other companies that are a little outside of healthcare, when they really went to school for something along the lines of caretaking. Naturally, the bridge for that would be childcare, in my opinion, as you're still caretaking and you don't have to change up being a nurse to any capacity. On top of that, childcare is now one of the biggest leading problems in America, right? So if we're looking at the childcare space itself, a lot of parents have to know 2.5 years before they even conceive a child that they need to be on a wait list for a daycare, right? So it's like, hey, go ahead and put down the gender and the name of your child before you even know you're having one. That's intuitively impossible. And so the alternative options for them tend to be high school students that don't really know their name or what they want to accomplish with their life. So essentially, nurses to nannies is providing the solution on both sides. For the parents, it's giving them volume of childcare and then also quality on top of that, not just throwing in underdeveloped, under I guess, ready and prepared childcare providers in that space. It's giving you nurses who may know even better than mom how to take care of child. And for the nurse side, it allows them to build out the work-life balance that they want and they deserve to live that the life they want, improve their mental health, and still get paid competitively. So overarchingly, I'm just trying to solve a humanitarian issue on two fronts and in two separate industries.
Wow, like hats off on so many different levels right there for you really having your finger on the pulse on two huge issues. One, the shortage of high quality childcare for families, which we all know is an issue. And then also being receptive to the high rates of healthcare burnout rates in the industry right now. So impressive to hear you speak so eloquently about two very different issues and finding an overarching theme to help both populations and at the same time supporting women's like empowerment. And we all know that men can also be nurses as well, but it still is a very female predominated field. So hats off for you because you aren't in this field. Like you're not a nurse or a healthcare worker, right? So it's incredibly profound that you have such a deep intellect for these issues.
I mean, yeah, it came naturally, right? If the problem faces you and almost hits you in the face a little bit, then it's probably a massive problem that needs to be solved. And if you do it properly, it will succeed. And so for me, I was naturally just facing this problem on both fronts for the past 2-ish years or so. I started out, I guess I'll go into how I kind of got into this. So I started out going to college, Colgate University. After finishing up there, I ended up playing professional soccer in the MLS for Sporty Kansas City. Unfortunately, I tore my abs, and life has different plans. It preps you for your opportunities and what you're really meant for, and I'm hoping that this ends up being what that is. And so I moved to Charlotte shortly after and started working for JP Morgan in wealth management. That's where I really saw the childcare problem face itself to me. My clients a lot of times would have strollers, would have babies. Their meetings with me would get interrupted consistently. And just to be very transparent, if they're dealing with me, they have some level of wealth to be able to afford childcare services for sure over anybody else. But their children were still there. And that's when I just naturally started asking those questions. So, like, hey, what's going on here? Why do you have your kids here? What's going on here? Why are they not being taken care of? And that's where they started telling me the problems and the issues that are going on in the childcare space. Inversely to that, and almost supplemental actually, I would go home afterwards to my partner, Katie, and within the span of 30 minutes, I would go from childcare problem, nurse problem. She's a nurse by trade.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and so she's L&D nurse even more so than others. So that is like delivering dead babies, seeing terrible things every day. Like it's a rough job, especially when you're working night shifts and there's no timeline for when you get off that list, right? Um, and so just seeing childcare problem, okay, nurse hating herself, childcare problem, okay, nurse hating herself. There has to be something here that's a natural solution. And just kind of seeing the two every single day, it clicked in my head almost instantaneously like, well, this is a natural problem. It keeps presenting itself to me. This is also a natural problem. It keeps presenting itself to me. And fortunately, they work in tandem because the